The Red Testament, revisited, expanded canon. In the Red Testament, Sword of the Lamb timeline, the sacred canon is not a direct parallel to our biblical structure. It's a spirit-wrought weave of memory texts, gospel windows, dream-encoded history, and flame-bound prophecy. The canon is referred to collectively as the Testament of Flame, and its Red Codex segment, often called the Red Testament, contains the most widely circulated and emotionally resonant texts across Ember-dominant regions. Its compilation was finalized during the Synod of the Withered Branch in the year 777 AF, after Flamefall. The Canon of the Red Testament, official list. 1. Gospel writings. The Flame-bearer's Path. The Gospel of Lucas of Tyre, a compassionate chronicle from the disciple Lucas, a physician-turned-witness, focuses on healing miracles, elemental resonance, and the turning of the blade. Not by wrath, but by the steady hand shall the veil be undone. Selected excerpts from this gospel were shared in the previous Red Testament video. The Gospel of Mariam, penned by the companion of Yeshua, Mariam of Bethany. It emphasizes inner fire, resurrection of the body and heart, and the secret teachings given in dream silence. He called me Flame Sister. He let me see the thread. Selected excerpts from this gospel were shared in the previous Red Testament video. The Gospel of Mariam is not a single narrator gospel. Like the Song of Songs or certain Gnostic codices, it's multi-voiced, often shifting without overt attribution. The Ember Orders understood this as intentional, a weaving of the voices of the 7 flame-bearer women. These are the women traditionally understood to be Mariam of Bethany, companion, witness; Mariam Magdalene, anointer, seer; Mother Mariam, Mary, the vessel, prophetess; Salome of the Silence, the watcher; Hannah of the Ember Gate, midwife, memory keeper; Joanna of the Sandcross, messenger, runner; Nera of the Mirror Gospel, dream record keeper. In our timeline, Mary the Mother is often silenced or sidelined after his birth. In Echo Sword of the Lamb, she remains active, a prophetess, veiled mystic, and one of the first to recognize the flame. Her unborn child, Yeshua, responding in utero with fire to "The Lamb walks not to die but to ignite," is a metaphysical activation scene. A powerful moment where the thread of the Messiah recognizes its own future self. Mariam, the mother, speaks that line. And yes, Mariam of Bethany is also present in that gospel, but speaks in different sections, especially the Mirror Lake parables and the anointing of the threaded feet scene. The Gospel of Thalos, restricted in some circles, written by a zealot turned pilgrim. This text blends mysticism with revolutionary fervor. It's known for its cryptic prophecy and political subtext. To carry the blade and not swing it, this is the art of peace. The Gospel of Thalos, Red Testament strand, excerpted fragments, restricted in some circles for its volatile tone and revolutionary subtext, believed to be written in exile. To carry the blade and not swing it, this is the art of peace. When the tyrant lifts the crown of ash, shout not with anger, but sing, for fire obeys the joyful heart. There are swords hidden in song, there are wars ended by memory. He was not gentle with the liars, he broke no bone, but he broke the story they told. The zealot burns outward, the witness burns inward, but both are fire, and both must learn stillness. 2. Acts and Testaments, early echo communities. Acts of the Ember Order details the rise of the Ember Order, veiled protectors who wander between towns, lighting braziers in memory of the lost flame-bearers. One walks ahead, one watches behind, one remembers. Selected excerpts from this gospel were shared in the previous Red Testament video. Scroll of Iskar, the story of a desert scribe who recorded the early echo quakes, contains dream-encoded maps of the cracked world and mentions of the prism crown. He wrote not with ink, but with ash. Scroll of Iskar, Red Testament strand, excerpted fragments, recovered fragments from the Ash Road Caravan, a vision text rendered in glyph ashes by a wandering scribe during the early echo quakes. He wrote not with ink, but with ash. The desert cracked, and through the fault lines came music no ear could hear. Only dreams could carry it. I saw the prism crown descend not on a king, but on a grieving child. One fault line runs through every world. Find it, and you'll find where the sorrow hid the seed. He etched the map with sleep, and in the morning his hand was clean, but the world had changed. Letters to the Ninefold Flock. Epistles from an unnamed apostle to communities in ruin. Encourages song, memory rituals, and joy in defiance. Rejoice, even if the sky is falling. The sky cannot remember, but you can. Letters to the Ninefold Flock, Red Testament strand, excerpted fragments. A cycle of letters written by the wandering disciple Canon to 9 fractured communities after the fall of Ember. Revered for its pastoral empathy and fire logic, you are not scattered, you are seeded. I write not to tell you how to burn, but to remind you that you still can. When the temple broke, so too did the lie that we had to meet him there. Now, you are the meeting place. If the Lamb finds you in exile, do not ask, why me? Ask, why now? For he only comes when the timeline bends. Your wounds are not shameful. They are the fingerprints of his passage through you. 3 veil texts and visionary writings. Revelation of the Ashen Veil. Apocalyptic and deeply symbolic. It records the vision of seer Anakai, whose veil turned to ash as he watched the worlds unravel and reweave. The stars will blink, and when they return, not all of them will be from here. Selected excerpts from this gospel were shared in the previous Red Testament video. The Flame Psalter, a collection of songs, laments, and ecstatic chants written by early flame monastics. Let the candle weep, let the stone sing. The Flame Psalter, Red Testament strand, excerpted fragments. Collected chants of the Ember cloisters, circa 1st Veil century. Psalm 1, Candle of the Hollow Heart. Let the candle weep, let the stone sing. Let the silence burn, and the name be wing. I have wandered through the unlit chapel, and found your echo in the melted wax. Psalm 9, Song of the Ember Bell. Do not wait for morning. The fire has already spoken, light breaks backwards, and so must you. The bell swings, not to warn, but to awaken. Hear it ring in the marrow. Psalm 14, Lament of the Ashen Cloak. Cover me, O flame, for the world has turned its face. I wore my joy too brightly, and the night mistook me for the sun. If I burn, let it be beside the others. Psalm 19, Skyburst over the veiled hill. They said the sky could not open twice. They were wrong. The second time, it opened from within us. Our bones hummed the hymn before our mouths caught up. Psalm 23, Dance of the Wounded. What is a wound but a new mouth? We sang through hours, until even the stars knew the tune. O Lamb of the crimson road, teach us to bleed in harmony. Psalm 27, the unnamed feast. Bread without name, wine without source. Still it fed us, and the laughter spread like fire through the circle. They will call this heresy. We will call it family. Chronicle of the Winged Thorn. An allegorical journey through a shattered garden, where each plant remembers a different failed timeline, full of talking trees, memory crows, and lost children. I asked the thorn why it bled. It said, I remember who touched me. Threadbinder's Light. Winged Thorn Codex, retrieved from the Garden of Divergent Bloom. Chronicle of the Winged Thorn. Red Testament strand. Excerpted fragments. Opening litany, the Threadbinder's vow. I walk between threads, not to weave control, but to hold the tear with tenderness. Each stitch a mercy, each knot a truth remembered. 1. The Chronicle of the Winged Thorn. I asked the thorn why it bled. It said, I remember who touched me. This allegorical chronicle tells of a shattered garden, where every plant holds the memory of a failed or forgotten timeline. The central figure, the winged thorn, is both guardian and archivist. Its feathers drip crimson, not from malice but remembrance. Lost children, threadbare travelers, and sorrow bees populate the garden. They whisper myths from worlds that no longer bloom. These voices are recorded in the barbs of the thorn, which acts as a living codex. 2. The 5 blossoms of fracture. Each flower in the garden is rooted in a metaphysical wound. Serrata lux, a bloom that only opens under moonlight fractured by regret. Its petals reflect possible joys that never came. Asphodel mirror, a glassy vine that shows you as you were in another thread. Bleed root, the plant that grows wherever a child was forgotten by time. Spindle cradle, a stalk that shelters those who fall between worlds. It sings lullabies from dreams unborn. Flare petal yarrow, blooms only when one forgives what the world could not become. 3. The role of the threadbinder. The threadbinder is not a gardener in the usual sense, but a stabilizer of sorrow fields. They do not choose which world survives, but offer shelter to its memory. Their tools are a memory loom woven from crow feathers and broken clock hands, a sigil of liminal binding etched in sleep onto their palm, a voice that never repeats, for repetition is how timelines calcify. They are often mistaken for archivists, prophets, or ghosts. 4. Interlocutors of the thorn. Entities that visit the garden include the candlefly chorus, insects that carry extinguished wishes seeking new threads to nest in. Thread ghosts, partial echoes of lives that almost were. They speak only when addressed by their true name. The girl in gray glass, a child who remembers every ending. She feeds the thorn petals plucked from timelines where no stories were ever told. 5. Liturgies of the Fray. Certain rites allow access to specific petals in the Codex. The binding of 3 silences, a ritual where no words are spoken, only remembered. The Mirfall hymn, sung to invoke the Asphodel mirror, requiring 3 voices from different timelines. The harvest of the bleed root, an act of mercy. One must offer a lost hour of their own life in exchange for the story held in its root. 6. Final passage, the Gate of the Untold. At the garden's edge lies a vine-choked arch of bone and bronze. Those who pass through it vanish, not from memory but into it. They become librarians of the Thorn, responsible for dreaming timelines back into coherence. Not all who vanish are lost. Some are returned to the page from which they first bled. The Veil Codex, the book between worlds. Canonical placement. The Veil Codex is one of the most enigmatic texts in the Red Testament canon, placed within the visionary writings section, alongside the Revelation of the Ashen Veil and Chronicle of the Winged Thorn. However, it is neither prophetic nor allegorical in the traditional sense. It is instructional, initiatory, and threshold-bound. It is sometimes referred to by Ember monastics as the 5th Path Scroll, a hidden teaching not meant for the faithful in exile, nor the flame-bearers on mission, but for the in-between, the veiled travelers, walkers of recursion, witnesses of the echo folds. A mystic's record of thresholds, dimensional, emotional, spiritual. Written in layered verses by the anonymous scribe without place, this codex contains teachings for those who walk between worlds. Attributed to the scribe without place, a title, not a name. Believed to be a veil-sensitive initiate who never claimed identity in a singular timeline. In outer echo orders, some whisper this may be the same presence who recorded the Book of Stolen Hours after forgetting themselves fully. The Veil Codex does not record events, but rather how to pass through them without collapsing the thread. Its teachings are threshold protocols, designed for those undergoing dimensional shifts, slidewalkers, flame-bound travelers, emotional crossings, mourning, soul return, exile re-entry, spiritual veil contact, dreams, synchronicities, echo entanglement. It's considered dangerous in rigid orders, as it teaches that not all doors are external, and that many who cross are never seen again because they found a deeper thread. The Veil Codex, Red Testament strand, excerpted fragments. Not every door is made of wood. Some are made of longing, some of light. When you feel the world thin beneath your feet, do not fear. The veil does not tear for the unready. He who walked in flame walked also in silence. The Lamb burned, but never shouted. Names are keys. Speak yours not to be heard, but to remember. To leave no trace is the mark of the thief. To leave a gentle wake, the sign of a witness. Hidden and apocryphal works, accepted in outer echo orders. The Mirror Gospel of Nera, a spiral text that must be read backward or in dream state. Nera was the only witness to the Phoenix Gate. I did not write these words. I remembered them forward. The Mirror Gospel of Nera, Red Testament strand, excerpted fragments, a companion to the Gospel of Mariam. Nera, another of the 7 flame-bearers, writes in poetic fragments and symbol states. The entire Gospel is structured as reflections, often mirroring lines from other books. He looked at me, and I saw the fire I thought I'd lost. Not in him, in me. She was not a prophet. She was the echo of a girl who remembered who she was before the breaking. He said nothing when I wept. He only opened his palm. Inside it, a flame and a mirror. I asked if I was worthy. He asked if I remembered the garden. Every tear, a code. Every memory, a path. We are not lost, only walking the mirrored way home. The Trial of the Lamb, a dramatic scroll text that portrays the arrest, mock trial, and choice of the Lamb to walk into death, not as sacrifice, but as threadbinder. He gave no defense, only silence, and the silence broke the knife. The Trial of the Lamb, Red Testament strand, excerpted fragments, scroll text, dramatized in veil-lit performance, interpreted through flame theater in outer echo orders. He gave no defense, only silence, and the silence broke the knife. When asked, "Are you the one?" he turned his face toward the dawn. The crowd shouted, but their voices fell like broken arrows. He stood among them, unpierced by fury. The judge asked, "Have you nothing to say?" And the Lamb replied with a gaze that remembered his sorrow. They thought they were choosing death, but he had already chosen life. For all. He walked through their verdict like wind through thorns, torn, but not stopped. The thread did not snap at the gallows, it unraveled into flame. In the silence of the trial, a new gospel was written, one wordless and alive. Book of the Lantern Child, tales and riddles passed down by ember children, often used in teaching, though many contain shocking wisdoms beyond their age. She didn't cry when they took her home. She lit their way instead. Book of the Lantern Child, Red Testament strand, excerpted fragments, a collection of parables, riddles, and ember fables passed down through the ember children, used in memory teaching rituals. She didn't cry when they took her home. She lit their way instead. When the sky forgot its stars, the Lantern Child hung dreams instead. They asked her what fire was for. She said to be shared, or else it dies. One child asked, "What is the thread?" She drew a circle in the ashes and whispered, "It's this, but moving." In the forest of mirrors, only the child's laugh broke the illusion. They tried to teach her the rules. She taught them how to play again. Every time she smiled, a hidden gate somewhere opened. Her riddles were keys, her tears were stars, her path forgotten yet followed. Canonical themes: memory as salvation, instead of sin forgiveness dogma. Elemental resurrection, earth, flame, wind, body. Veil work through compassion, not conquest. Joy as rebellion against entropy. Every timeline has a thread worth healing. Non-canonical and deuterocanonical texts. The Book of Stolen Hours. This is a disputed apocryphal text, appearing primarily in a variant ember sect that emerged centuries after the Ashen Veil event. It's revered among dream walkers and memory scribes, but is not part of the core canonical cycle. Known for fragmented stanzas of time distortion and borrowed lifelines. The Book of Stolen Hours, Red Testament strand. Excerpted fragments. A haunting poetic chronicle of times and worlds that were erased, written by the archivist Oran after glimpsing the vault of echoes. It mourns, what was lost and prepares the way for their return. There were children who sang in languages now unspoken, under skies that never set. I remember them. That is enough. The scrolls we burned lit our path forward, but we wept all the same. The Lamb walked the corridors of forgotten time, touching each door with light. Some reopened, some remained locked. For now, I do not beg for restoration. I hold vigil until the hour is unerased. If you have ever felt the ache of something you never lived, you are one of us. The Ember Lexicon. Not a scripture, but rather a mystic glossary, a compendium of sigils, terms, and resonant metaphors used by flame bearers, often bound together with acts of the Ember Order, but not a narrative book. The Ember Lexicon, Red Testament strand, excerpted fragments, an encoded collection of phrases, chants, and flame runes used by the Ember Order during times of great spiritual resistance. Often quoted in whispers, some entries are single lines with immense symbolic resonance. Flame is not destruction. It is memory made visible. When the veil thickens, draw the blade of flame within. The true name of the Lamb is not spoken, it is remembered. To strike in vengeance is to burn a wound into time. To strike in justice is to cauterize it. Ashes are not the end. They are where we draw new glyphs. The Canticum of Flame. Song of Flame. This is a liturgical hymn cycle, often chanted during ritual reenactments of the Lamb's journey. Technically part of the Flame Psalter appendix, but in some sects, it circulates independently. So it is part of Canon, but not a standalone gospel. The Canticum of Flame. Song of Flame. Red Testament strand. Excerpted fragments. A sacred collection of hymns and refrains, sung by the early flame bearers, said to have been composed in trance states. Each verse binds memory, prophecy, and devotion. O flame, who walked in flesh, teach my feet the path of embers. He wept not for the world as it was, but for the world it forgot. In the silence between heartbeats, I hear your name, the name the world buried. Sing not of victory, but of light returned. If I burn, let it be a beacon. And with that, the full gospel canon from a timeline beyond the veil of worlds has been unveiled.